Hi, welcome to episode number 3 of our training diaries. This week was a little bit different as it was a break from the normal routine while we went away to spend a week on the Pennine Way with some friends who were doing the Spine race in January.
It was different, but we also managed to get some sessions in as well. So we did go away from Tuesday to Friday, but we bookended the week with our sort of key sessions,
yeah.
I guess. So for me, this last week was more, because I only had a chance to do 2 sessions, so this week was more about setting some numbers for the next block in the gym. So I set my squat, bench and deadlift numbers for kind of 3 reps of that amount, so that I know now what I'm working with going into the next block. So I did actually PB'd my back squat, not massive, and I can do more for 1, but I'm going to work towards that in the next block. So that was cool. And again, I'm kind of working on pull-ups still, and I'm a bit further on with that. Jayson filmed me doing one.
So close.
That was about that far off.
Like,
said he wasn't going to show it until I've got my chin over the bar.
No.
So
Something to aim for.
Yeah.
I think once you've done one, you'll be like, I can do it.
Repping them out.
And then you'll be banging them out.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
And for me, it was just wanted to get a couple of key sessions in. I guess the big thing when you're going away, it's harder to swim. Where we were, there weren't really any swimming pools. There was lots of water, but no proper swimming areas.
Some bog snorkeling.
Yeah, bog snorkeling. So just Monday and Saturday I got a couple of key swims in, which was good. I had a bit of a breakthrough on the swimming, which I'm going to talk about another time, because we're going to talk about the Pennine Way this week. But yeah, that was good, so I was really happy with that. And then getting away this week on the Pennine Way.
Yeah.
So
we've been playing it for a few months, haven't we? I don't really know where it originated. I wasn't part of the original plan, but it was basically to allow the couple of friends that we went with to do some training, do some recceing, and we were sort of facilitating that with driving between places, because it's hard to do a big chunk like that unless you've got some support, or unless you're sleeping outside, which nobody wanted.
No, and it was a chance for us to have a holiday and a break as well, which we both really liked that area, the northern part of the Pennine Way up through Hadrian's Wall and around there. So yeah, picture behind us is Hadrian's Wall, the tree, and so it was a good chance to do that. But for those not familiar with the Spine race, the Montane SPINE race, which is in January, it's basically the full length of the Pennine Way, which starts in Edale and finishes in Kirk Yetholm or Kirk Yeehart, apparently.
That's the correct pronunciation.
That's the correct pronunciation according to Damien Hall. And it's 268 miles. It's a non-stop race, which basically means once the clock starts when you set off, it does not stop until you get to the end. So unlike some stage races where the clock stops at the end of the day, you get a night's sleep and then you carry on the next day, this just keeps going, and it's up to you to manage how often you stop over that distance. You've basically got 7 days to finish it, and there's 5 main checkpoints where you are able to sleep inside. They provide hot food, but they're quite, they range between sort of 35 and 42 miles apart, which could be anything between 12 and 20 hours apart. So the onus is very much on you to manage yourself over that distance and manage if you want to sleep.
So can you sleep in every checkpoint?
So you can sleep in every checkpoint, but you're only allowed in there for 6 hours max. So by the time you've got in a checkpoint, sorted your kit out, eaten something, you're probably only going to get 4 hours sleep in a checkpoint as well. So that element of it makes it so hard. and it's in January.
Yeah.
So you've got 16 hours of darkness, pretty much.
And you might look at the route and go, well, I mean, yeah, it's huge and hilly and stuff, but it's not as hilly as some places. It's not as wild as some places in areas. But then the element of exposure, I think, is a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
For that particular route, it's very exposed.
The amount
of
of climbing isn't really a challenge in itself in that route. It's the terrain.
Yeah.
It's the terrain and the fact it's in January, so you can get any condition weather-wise. It could be really wet, it could be really windy, it could be freezing, it could be 2 or 3 feet of snow sometimes, and they will run that race as much as they can, even if the weather's really bad, unless it becomes super dangerous. Sometimes they stop the race, or they hold you at certain points if there's a storm or something and it's really dangerous. But a lot of the time,
I've missed out Pennine before. Have they done that?
Every now and then they'll miss out Pennine because it's really windy, but it's not something they just stop because there's a bit of frost on the ground. It's an opportunity to do a very extreme event in some very tough conditions, which I think is one of the big draws to it, especially with it being in January. But
with help, like if you're going to do the Pennine Way in January by yourself, you've got to look after yourself, and you've got to look after yourself on the spine, but they do, when you get to a checkpoint, you're looked after, aren't you? Yeah, you're looked after. You've got a tracker on, and they've got the little pot there. They put a lot of effort into the safety team as well. So, even though you are out in an extreme environment in the middle of nowhere, especially on the Cheviots, they do have that safety team ready if something should really go wrong. You're also carrying a lot of your own safety gear as well. So unlike a lot of kind of ultras, they expect you to carry sleeping bag, cooker, a bivy bag, so if something did happen to you out on the trail, you can get a warm drink, get into your sleeping bag, so you are very self-sufficient. With that being said, one of the challenges is your pack is quite big, so you are carrying probably between 5 and 8 kilograms of kit, depending on what you use. If you're a little woman, that could be like a tenth of your body weight. Yeah, it's like for Eddie, who we were with, it was 10% of her body weight, so that is significant, and you try and run with 10% of your body weight, it does make a big difference. So yeah, it's tough. Yeah. As well as the spine race itself, there are other sort of lead-in races, aren't there? So you can do. They've added to them seemingly every year for the last few years as well. So the Challenger is kind of the next one down, I guess, which is not the first half, not quite. It's 108 miles from Edale to Hawes. Yeah. So it's the first bit. I can't remember when that starts, but yeah, that's the kind of next one down. And then you've got the MRT, which is run just for the mountain rescue people, isn't it? Which is the same route. So the mountain rescue people go out and help on this race every year. They don't get to do it, and so some of them want to, don't they? So that's a race for them. And that's raising money for mountain rescue as well. Yeah. So that's really, really good. I think just this last year, was it the first year for the sprint this year as well? Yeah, this year was the first year they did the sprint and the North. The Challenger North and the Spine Sprint are new races this last year that they've kept going, which start again around similar times. It's all over that sort of weekend, isn't it? The Challenger North, I think, sounds pretty monstrous actually. Yeah, that's still 160 miles, so it's the second half, so it's the more remote part as well, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. And then then you've got like 6 days to do that one as well. Yeah. Not quite 6, 5 days. And the sprint is the taster. Yeah. I guess. So that's 43 miles from the start, isn't it? So Edale to Hebden Bridge, I think. Yeah. And you've got about 60 hours to do that. So on the face of it, they all look like you've got quite a lot of time to do them, but it's all the same conditions that Jayson was talking about. I think you have to carry the same kit for you have to carry the same kit for all the races. So the idea behind that, I guess, is you get used to doing that in case you want to well, as a lead-in for the full spine, or you can see if you hit it.
Well, the
never want to do it again.
the kind of big events in themselves as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the Spine kind of overshadows those races, but the Challenger in itself is 110 miles, which is a tough route, and the North is still 168 miles, so it's nothing to be sniffed at.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really exciting. We both really enjoy coaching people for it as well, because it is very different, and you do have to have a different skill set to just being a good runner, a good ultra runner. There's so much more to it, and there's so many more dynamics to it, and self-management and things like that. So we both really enjoy helping people with that, and I think for me, I'm quite passionate about the route, especially the northern part. So it's really nice to spend that time with Eddie and James this week, showing them bits of it, and kind of badgering them about what it'll be like when I did the Spine or when I didn't do the Spine. So yeah, it's nice.
So this last week Eddie and James are doing the Spine. That's not a secret, is it? No. in January, and Eddie lives in France, so she's got very different challenges to kind of get the sort of terrain that she needs to get in. She's got big mountains, but they're covered in snow at the moment. I think she's got much bog, has she?
No, it's hard for her to find mud.
Yeah, it was finding the bog and working with the bog for Eddie, I think, a lot of it. And James is from down south. I don't know, it's generic south to me. So again, he's super experienced, obviously, but never done this race before. So again, it was a good chance for him to get out and see this end of the route that's really bogging.
Testing his new flashy Sportiva boots, which were good.
Yeah,
I quite like that, because I bought some all-in-one boots as well after my last Spine attempt, and I've never had a chance to use them until last week, and it was a complete game changer. That all-in-one boot rather than just a trainer and a gaiter, it made so much difference.
So we were
nice.
We were running and walking with them. They weren't running the whole time as well. I think that's important to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the big part of getting out on this recce was to recce it. So you're learning the route, you're practicing with kit, you're working out which bag you want to use, what shoes you want to use, clothing and everything. So they weren't just using it as run training, which was good for us because we're not doing much running at the moment. So we walked with them a few days. So the first day I'd never seen hike up Nick, so I went and did the first 20 miles with them, and we were literally from the off. It was a jog walk. It was nice and easy. We took about 5.5 hours to do the first 20 miles of probably the easiest bit of the route as well. It was a lovely day.
I think it's the most scenic bit, and it's good going underfoot.
It was nice, and I just had some Scott Super Tracks on, and it wasn't wet at all on that section, but I was hopping round puddles and stuff, and James and Eddie were just going straight through because they had these magic shoes. So, and again, I think both of them said, Eddie maybe towards the end of the week her feet were getting a bit wet, but James didn't. No. Neither of them had any footy shoes, and they were just going straight through stuff. So it's definitely worth.
Because feet on that event and that route, by far the biggest challenge is, and I think the thing that predominantly slows people down or holds people back is the feet. It's not aerobic fitness for sure, but yeah. Even
your issue was a foot issue, really, wasn't it? Even though it manifested as shin tendonitis, it was because your feet were so bad.
Yeah,
you would lift them
basically
up.
My feet were so sore, not because of blisters, but because of trench foot or immersion foot, that I was having to lift up my toes. So it was just putting so much strain through the tendons in the front of my shins, and then it started, that inflammation then started affecting the blood flow into my foot as well. So my foot was very painful and kind of almost going numb, but not. It was weird, but yeah, that all stemmed from feet immersion foot. So yeah, going out this week in those different shoes, it was honestly, it was such a game changer. I was like, oh wow, this is so good. So that was nice to test kit and get an idea for it.
Yeah, and it was also nice just to be out for 4 days. It was like a school trip, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had a nice time. We ate lots of food, had some good chat, learned a few things that I don't think we knew about.
Yeah,
about Eddie and
definitely.
James.
Yeah. It was just nice, wasn't it, to like have that outside of a routine, spend some time. For me, spend time on a route that the last time I did it was more stressful. So it was good to put some kind of happy memories to it. And we did the Cheviot on the last day, which is 25-mile section, and once you're up there on the Cheviot, that is it for 25 miles. There's no kind of bailing out. And when I dropped out last time, it was just before the Cheviots. So it was nice for me to go back and see that again and sort of, kind of see what it was like again and put some happy times to it. Yeah.
So I think when people see what you've been doing on Strava, I know Eddie and James have had questions about what they're doing. And you, have you had questions about whether you're ready in the spine to do it next year?
Seen me on the Pennine Way route last week going, oh, you're doing the spine. So I'll answer that now. No, I'm definitely not doing it in January.
Neither am I, incidentally.
No, you're not either. No, we've both got other kind of plans for next year. And I will go back to it one day. I would hope so. But very unlikely in the next couple of years. I think it'll always be there, and I wouldn't want to go back and not do it justice. I think it's a huge challenge, and that maybe what people don't quite appreciate is how it impacts everything afterwards. It's not really the lead up, it's the after effects.
There are a lot of people that we know that have done it, including you, that have just had their whole year pretty much wiped out, and you've got to almost take that into account, haven't you? And even longer for some people, to be honest, just from general fatigue, depending on how they've raced it and what they've done and how they've come out the other side. Some people are fine and can crack on, but for a lot of people it takes a lot out.
And I pushed myself beyond my limit, clearly, because I didn't finish, and I still did 230 miles, and it took me at least a year before I was back to probably what I would say was in a position to train properly, physically and mentally. So I'm not ready to do that again, and I'm quite enjoying my swimming and biking.
But it would be nice to watch it all unfold this year. I said when we were driving home on Friday, I don't think I've looked forward to watching it as much, because when Jayson was doing it, I was anxious for him, and it was a very fraught week, a few days. Whereas now, having seen James and Eddie on the route, it's going to be really nice to watch them finish and
I'm really
watch them tickle on. Watch them
Hayden,
lick the wall at the end.
Hayden, I've been coaching for a while, is also doing it, so he came out and did the Cheviots with us as well on Friday. So it was, I'm really excited to see how everyone gets on and be at home dot watching, which most people enjoy that aspect. Top bits for last week, fun bits last week.
Hike up Nick was lovely. It was a really, really nice day. It was probably the best day on Tuesday, wasn't it? The brightest day. Bright sunshine. And just I've spent quite a bit of time with Eddie, obviously, but not James, so that was fun. Didn't know he was a Jerry Halliwell fan. The Robin Hood tree, so Jayson and I went out on our own. We had a little day to ourselves when those two were out on Thursday. Just walked out to the Robin Hood tree and gave it a little hug, did some scenes. It's always nice to go there. It's also a place that I can't remember how long we've been with our running club before we got together, and had a nice holiday up there with the running club, so it's nice to bring those memories back. And also we've been up there again quite a few times since, we really like Northumberland, and the people are
really
nice.
friendly.
They're so friendly.
Everywhere we stayed, was spot on.
Yeah.
So thanks, Eddie, for booking nice places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think hike up Nick and the Tree for me.
Okay. Cool.
And just the general company.
Yeah. Yeah.
having after those two have been out on the trail all day, and then we got back to our B&B or our pub or whatever, and had some nice food and drink. That's always cool, isn't it?
Yeah. 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 I think I enjoyed the food.
Yeah.
I managed 4 cooked breakfasts in a row, so I was quite happy with it. Not on the same day, each day, so that was good. Yeah, so the food was good. Trail chat was definitely good. And being up on the Cheviots was really nice, even though it was a bit of a overcast day. We still got the views, so I was really I was spot on.
It's a shame for them they didn't get the views off Hadrian's Wall, did they? It was kind of
so they did see some, I think.
We'll see what time they go through on the spine.
I think that's the thing with the spine, you just don't know what time of day really, especially in that northern half. You can't plan what time of day you're going to go through those sections. It just is what it is. So you've got a 66% chance of it being in the dark, I guess. So yeah, at least they got to see it in the daylight.
Yeah.
Okay, so tip of the week. What's your tip of the week, or our tip of the week?
Our tip of the week. We've got the same one, haven't we?
Yeah.
This was a break from our normal routine. And we managed to do a bit of training either side, and we've got probably good benefits from being out doing long days, but that wasn't the point of it. The point of it was to go and have a nice time and enjoy ourselves. And sometimes you get so wrapped up in your training that you kind of put things off, or you don't do things that you maybe wanted to do because it's going to take away from your training. And that's good sometimes, but not all the time. Like, you've only got one pop at this, haven't you? So you might as well go and do things that you enjoy. So don't be scared to break from routine and go and do something that you want to do, even if it's not the optimal thing to do. Yeah.
I mean, I was this week was purposefully planned to be a kind of deload, easy week from biking and stuff. But I was still a little bit anxious that I couldn't swim so much. And I was looking for swimming pools like locally, because I thought, I'll go and do a swim, and I sort of caught myself. I had to go, oh no, it's okay, you're still going to swim twice this week, so it's fine.
So sometimes when we go on holiday, we get people that we're coaching saying, I can take my bands, or I can take my kettlebell because we're going away in our van or whatever. And it's just like, depending where you are and what you're doing, but sometimes just have a break. Just have a break from it all. You don't need to be doing all the time. And it does your nervous system good as well, which does your immune system good. It's not always about how can I train my muscles and my aerobic system. Yeah,
definitely. And I liked, one of the big things I like about what we do and the outdoor sport, if you like, is the people that you meet and spending time with people that you enjoy being with. So sometimes it's very easy to kind of not do that, and it was nice to just do that, go and hang out, and have good chat. Next week we're going to go back into a routines a little bit more, chat about my swimming. You're going to start ramping the weights up, get a pull-up in, and we'll see what happens. But thank you for tuning in, thank you for the feedback on the last couple of videos, and we look forward to seeing you all soon.